The next item on the agenda is the selection of a mayor. The floor is now open for nominations for mayor. There's no second required. Are there any nominations for mayor?
Mr. City Attorney, before we start in on the nominations, I'd like to know whether any council members have anything to say before the nominations.
I do. I would like to have discussion on this. I'd like to be able to ask questions of the other council persons, and I think it would be a very good idea if we had the public have the opportunity to say something. Is there any problem with doing this?
I have no objection.
Fine with me, Jay.
All right,
My only comment would be that it's not on the agenda as advertised, Mr. Attorney. Small thing called the law.
It was,
Well, there's nothing under for election of new mayor A call for nominations that says that the council members can't speak. So I think that it's perfectly in order, and it comes under item 4A.
I believe that the nominations, once they're done, have to be, a mayor has to be chosen by motion. All motions are debatable except for one to adjourn. So at the proper time, your comments would be considered debate on the motion, and whether you let the public speak is a matter of up to the council. It's never been done before, but I don't see any prohibition of it in the charter. So I think first we ought to take the nominations and then see.
Let's elect the officers first.
Well, I think that it'd be nice if we had the opportunity to speak. I know that I'd like to say something. I hear that Jay would like to say something, so I think that it's appropriate to have the council members have what they want to say stated.
I believe that the city attorney did state that debate would be fine after the motions were made, so the motions do need to take place first.
Okay. So again, I'll open the floor for nominations for mayor.
Will somebody say something? I'll take the job if nobody wants it.
I nominate Jay Kramer.
Are there any further nominations for mayor?
I nominate Tracy Carroll.
Are there any further nominations for mayor? Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. We now have Jay Kramer and Tracy Carroll. Now, it's up to the council to ask questions and discuss it, if you'd like, before we do motions.
I have a few questions, mainly with Brian. I guess in talking with a lot of people about the makeup of the city council, I think there's a concern of some of the dynamics between a couple of council members. I've got to ask the question, Brian. If you think you can be fair and impartial and forget the past and work forward to getting some of the items that are important to the city done.
Do you remember in the last year when I sat up here as an elected official, when I acted in any way that wasn't fair and impartial? I think that if you look at the record, I was probably the only council member that was fair and impartial and demanded that all council members and all citizens be allowed the right to speak and be given the opportunity for their input. So I think that the answer to your question is the record for the last year and my actions, which certainly speak louder than words.
Okay. Well, I think it's great that you reminded people of this. I mean, I certainly was there, I saw this, but I think there's just needed to be some affirmation with that question.
Are there any further questions of the two candidates for mayor?
I would just like to make the comment that I feel it's imperative that this council project a sense of civility on our council, that in the past there have been many accusations and many heated discussions over the lack of civility on this dais, and I feel it is imperative that we go forward with not only civility but also competency, and require our charter officials to provide the accurate documentation, financial information, the documentation that this council needs to go forward in making decisions. And I feel that civility and competency should be the bywords of our council.
Any further comments from council? At this point, the council has to determine if you want the public to ask questions of the mayor nominees.
I would like to see that happen.
I would be in favor of that.
I'm seeing that the consensus of the council is to allow the public, so with your leave, we'll start with the left. Anyone who wants to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address.
Hi. What a nice day. What a beautiful picture. All I can say is I think that it's pretty clear. My name is Charlie Wilson. I think it's pretty clear that the voters have spoken loud and clear, not once, but twice. And the one thing that they're looking for that's going to be necessary to carry out the orders that were given to you and me by the voters is unity. And in reality, who's mayor is important for history, maybe, but it's not important for what we need to do to progress here. And what we need to progress here is 5 people pulling the same wagon. So I would like to, I'm not going to recommend one person or another, but obviously what we need is someone that can pull us together and handle the meeting and keep us working for the people. Just remember, in the campaigns you heard me every once in a while talk about the lady that came up and said, remember me. You know, I'm 70 years old and I never would have thought that government would have so much and I would have so little. So when we're talking about the political nature of who's going to be mayor and so forth, just remember that. Remember her and what's best for this community. Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, the idea of everyone pulling in the same direction and we all being like-minded, I think that's one of the problems that we see in government all over the place. I think that we see at local and at national levels where if the Republicans favor something, all the Republicans pull in the same direction. There's no open debate. Same way for the Democrats. I think one of the things that's important is not that we all pull the same wagon, but rather that we all contribute to the debate and each in our own way give our thoughts and use our own unique experience and or abilities to bring to the table answers to the questions and to the problems that we have. I think that the state of the city at this time could be compared to the aftermath of a hurricane. We have a mess to clean up. I think that the voters have handed us a mandate, and I believe that this is a council that has experience enough to pick up that directive and to make good things happen. And I think that we can and we must clean up the mess. With respect to whether or not it's important who is or who isn't mayor, I think that the last year showed us exactly how important that was, because we had a mayor that decided to shut down council members, We had a mayor that decided to shut down the public, and there was no one in this room that has fought for the public's right to speak and defended the public's right to speak more than I have. And there's no one in this room that has defended the council members' rights more than I have. So I do think that it is important who is mayor. I think it's important that we have someone as mayor that will uphold the underpinning principles of this country, the underpinning principles that have made us great. So I would have to take issue with you on whether it's important. It is important.
I agree with you, and don't misinterpret my comments. Obviously, transparency, good debate, information gathering, there's no such thing as too much information. So that is a definite change that I see going forward. I frankly trust any of you to hold the reins of mayor. But what is important is not that you all become single-minded, but you become single-purposed. And that single purpose is to remember that it's not about the employees, it's not about the city, it's not about government, it's about that 70-year-old woman that can't pay her bill. And whatever it is that you guys need to do, we need action, and we need it now, and we need it. So be leaders, and good luck. I wish you a full term.
I feel that writing would be appropriate.
Is that the consensus of council? Then if you would each get a piece of paper, sign your choice for mayor, and sign your name to it, and pass it to the clerk, please.
Now, are we just writing one person, or are we ranking?
The two nominees, one person. Tracy, I thought you were...
I thought Brian was nominated first.
Was Brian nominated?
No, there's just the two nominees, Mr. Kramer and Mrs. Carroll.
I thought Brian was nominated, you nominated yourself.
I didn't. I said I'd take the job if no one wanted it. I did not nominate myself.
Nominations are closed.
Right, your vote should be either Mr. Kramer or Mrs. Carroll. One of those.
If the paper's bigger, there's no weight to it, right?
Oh, absolutely. The bigger paper wins. And I use legal size, so.
Okay, Mr. Kramer voted for Mr. Kramer. Mr. Fletcher voted for Mr. Kramer. Mrs. Turner voted for Mr. Kramer. Mrs. Carroll voted for Mrs. Carroll. And Mr. Hetty voted for Mr. Kramer. The vote passes 4-1 for Mr. Kramer.
And at this point, I would like to turn the meeting over to Mayor Kramer. Congratulations. And